to guide me, comfort me, love me, if I would only let it. If Maggie would only be quiet long enough for me to hear that still small voice. I learned some things about myself that I simply didn't like, that didn't work anymore, and that I didn't want to be part of my ongoing personhood. I let them go. I also learned that there were many things that did work for me, and I kept those. And I discovered how to strengthen those God qualities, define them and refine them, to enhance them, to grow into them. The seeds had always been there, and now I could nourish them and become a greater expression than I'd ever been. And that is an ongoing and eternal process. Thank goodness I never have to worry about graduating. The awareness button has been turned on, and once you become aware, you can never go back to being unaware about anything. Not totally, not honestly. You can try to deny an awareness, but spirit is relentless. Once you give God a voice in your life, oh my God, Spirit will always be there to guide and direct you, no matter how big the idea or vision or dream you want to create. Maggie usually won't let you do too much because your ego, your fear, will try to hold you back. Or it'll distract you off into another direction, delay you a little while. But if you pay attention to that still small voice and that amazing spiritual GPS, God, path, signals, that you have with you all the time, and follow the rules or the principles or the laws that you're capable of, those of creation, that you have an understanding for, you'll keep raising the bar of your consciousness, your ideas and visions, and who you are as an individualized expression of divine mind. So what are the rules or laws? Or are they just guidelines? For an example might be, and since we're on camera, nobody has to raise their hand. We have laws with speed limits, don't we? Or are they just guidelines? And how do you know the difference? Fortunately for us, whether as a beginning student of science of mind or seasoned teachers and ministers and spiritual seekers, Ernest Holmes has an entire chapter in the textbook entitled The Way It Works. The opening paragraphs of chapter 11 state this: the science of mind is not a special revelation of any individual. It is rather the culmination of all revelations. We take the good wherever we find it, making it our own insofar as we understand it. The realization that good is universal, and that as much good as any individual is able to incorporate in his life is his to use, is what constitutes the science of mind and spirit. We have discussed the nature of think, capital T, as being universal energy, mind, intelligence, spirit, finding conscious and individualized centers of expression through us. And that man's intelligence is this universal mind functioning at the level of man's concept of it. This is the essence of the whole teaching. Okay. So basically, this translates to mean you can have as much good in your life as you are willing to ask for and accept. Whatever it might be, however you choose to use it, as long as you stay aware. And because you are individualized expressions of divine intelligence, the thing itself, in other words, you are the hands and feet, the physical form of God in action, Spirit gets to experience life through you. It's one mind. We are in the consciousness of God, and God is in us. We can be guided to co-create. We can use free will to follow that guidance or not. And once we set our vision and intention and belief, once we speak our word, which is the first step of the creative order and what the Bible referred to in John 1:1 as the Word was God, we are engaging the law of mind, the law of creation. It's all one. So if we wanted to put these laws in some kind of order, law number 1, we are never separate from God. We are always, God is always present and available to us. Isn't that a first-rate law? Oneness. Many religions teach this law or principle. One God, oneness. Each in their own way. Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, Sufism, Judaism, the holy texts of all the religions teach oneness. It's up to the followers of each religion to practice it. The thing about universal laws, big L, you can't change them. They just are. It is what it is. And laws work the same for everyone. There's no favoritism with laws. No working better for one person than it does for another based on your personality or your good works in the world. Now, another law that's mentioned in this opening paragraph of chapter 11, let's call it law number 2 so we can keep things straight, is that it is done unto you as you believe. Matthew 21:22, the phrase attributed to Jesus, the Master Teacher, is stated like this: whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believe, ye shall receive. Believing ye shall receive. This requires some action on our part, both mental and physical. So I came up with 4 steps for creative action. Number 1, think. 2, believe. 3, ask. 4, accept. We're going to go through them briefly. First, be aware of, think about what it is you really want to attract and create in your life. What is it you really want to bring into being? Is it a partner in a relationship? Or is it the experience of love? Do you want a better job, more money, security? Or do you want to know what abundance is? Do you want your illness to just go away so you can get on with your day and get things done? Or do you really want to experience health, complete and whole health? What do you really, really want to experience and attract? What's behind your intention? Second, what's the level of your belief meter? Can you hold the vision and the intention and actions needed to go all the way to creating your dream? Do you have sufficient faith to go the distance? If you don't believe what you want with all your being, with your highest intention, how will you ever be able to attract the help you might need from others to create it? Or the materials, or the supplies, or the situations? How will you get through those times of disappointment if it doesn't work the first time out the way Maggie thinks it's supposed to? What do you do about trying to attract more good into your life? What do you believe about your focus and your intention, about yourself? Third, have you asked for what you truly want to experience in your life? I don't know how many times I hear people make the comment, I should have asked for a prayer. Yeah, that's what we're here for. Not just on Sunday mornings. Practitioners are available, there's business cards at the back, the church phone is open almost 24/7. Call if you want prayer support, to celebrate or to help you through a challenge. Pray on a daily basis until whatever it is you desire shows up. Are you clear about what you're praying for, what you want to create? Do you have clarity, specificity these words. Good and more good is mine, and I ought to have it. Yeah, I love that. While the law of creation, the law of mind is everywhere, your declaration, your asking for what you want, your staking your claim with universal mind sets the law in motion. It's just sitting there, waiting for you to turn the key. And once you do, it must start moving and working for your benefit. It's the law. It has to do that. Holmes said we must accustom ourselves to the concept of the impersonalness of the law, the availability of the law, and the mechanical accuracy of the law. If we can conceive only a little good, then that is as much as we can experience. This is where another law, the law of mental equivalence, makes itself known. How much good do you believe you can have? Whatever that is, that's the level you'll get. And as your faith in the laws and your trust in its working precision starts making itself known in your life, your mental capacity for more good will increase. It will. It must. You have a higher vision. Of course, you can always block it with fear and denial. It's your choice. The fourth step. Are you willing to accept your good? People say they are, but they put stipulations and conditions on what they're willing to receive. If it doesn't show up exactly how they have described, they might push it away because it doesn't match their mental picture. They've closed themselves off from other possibilities and directions of creation. There's no room for God to work in their lives. They've got it all figured out. I don't like it very much when those words come out of my mouth. It doesn't leave any room for God. If you don't recognize your good when it's right in front of you, just because it looks a little different from your plan, if you don't feel that you deserve that much good, what about if there's no gratitude for what you already have? Start with your breath. Start with being alive. No one looks in this room looks like you're starving. So we're obviously getting food and drink, transportation. Start with the basics. That's the best antidepressant I know. Remember this little line? If you can conceive it and believe it, then be open to receive it. If you can conceive it and believe it, then be open to receive it. Let's say it together just once. If you can conceive it and believe it, then be open to receive it. So, I have an example I've been waiting to share with you. Probably been wondering what this trash bag is over here. And I know the board of trustees gets a little nervous every time I bring a secret bag or a box with me for the sermon. But this example perfectly illustrates the concept of rules and laws and guidelines. It's available through a phone app and computer game. Some of you might be familiar with it. It's called Angry Birds. For those of you who play the game, you recognize it. Angry Birds was created by a Finland-based company, Rovio Entertainment, starting in 2003. Let me give this to you. In 2003, they started this company, this little game. They now have offices in at least 7 countries and employ about 800 people. The game started as a casual puzzle game and became an international phenomenon within a few months of creation. It is now the #1 downloaded app of all time. Many of the basic games are free, and there are so many versions, so it keeps things interesting. My adult children introduced me to the game a few years ago during a Thanksgiving feast. And I play it casually, a little bit each day. It helps me unwind. And I just found out that this company, by going to their website, which I've never done before, actually creates a whole lot of other games that now I'm going to have to expand my skill set, I think. And while the backstory is interesting in and of itself, I want to focus on the game. The premise for nearly all the Angry Games versions is this. There's a battle going on between the birds and the green pigs. The pigs have stolen their eggs, and the birds want them back. That's it. The only way to do that, to get points, is to get rid of or destroy the green pigs and their hiding places. There are different kinds of birds, and each one has a unique skill that's useful in bringing down the pig's hideouts. For example, one bird may drop a bomb. Another bird might clone itself into 3 so it can attack from 3 different places. Another bird, it's like a big parrot type thing, or a toucan. Do I play the game or what? You can shoot it out and it comes back and does kind of a boomerang effect so you can get around from behind. All the birds fly propelled from a slingshot platform in an order prearranged by the game designer. So you don't get to choose which birds go first. But you get to choose the control and the force and the direction of each bird. Each game has a theme. It might be Halloween, or back to school, or Piglantis, or Star Wars, or Rio. Every game has about 15 to 25 different scenes or levels to win, usually before you can go on to the next. You get points and gold stars every time you complete a level. As you better understand the rules of the game, how the bird's skills and weaponry work, how the hideouts are constructed, and the way they fall down, where are the weak points? And provided that your aim improves, there is a law that becomes very evident. You always have more birds than you need. You always have more birds than you need to win the game. To win every level of the game. The variance as to whether you use them all or not is you. When I was told this little game secret, suddenly it wasn't about the birds and the pigs and their battle. It was how well I could progress in the game using as few birds as possible. The external competition of points turned into an internal development of skills and tactics. It still is. In any version of these games, you can go back and start over, even before you use up your supply of birds. Unlike our lives, you can rewind the game at any given time, and then get to be really good at using one bird at a time, and rewind, and one bird, and rewind, until you know exactly the power and the direction and the control you need for that first bird, and then go to bird number 2 and start over and do the same thing again. And you can get so proficient at the first 1 or 2 birds that you don't even need the rest. And then you get thousands of points as a result of that. Okay, so how does this relate to universal laws and creating our lives? Each bird, like you, has a unique skill, a unique expression. The way it works, like the law, it can't be changed. The way that bird works is set. Now you have that option to change, but that bird is representing the law in this case. No matter who you are, or how much you cuss at that screen, or how many times you restart the game, that bird's going to work in the same way. It does the same for everyone who plays it. No favoritism. You set the bird, the law in motion, and it does it with mechanical accuracy, universal precision. while you control the direction and the force of the bird aimed at the pigs within the rules of the game. How things unfold are not entirely in your control, kind of like life. Yes, the buildings will collapse and some pigs will explode or not. To be successful and not use up all your birds, you must stay open to other possibilities than just one single point of entry. You have to be open. Maybe you need to go around from behind or come in from above. You may have to repeat your efforts many times to be successful. Don't we do that in life too? And yes, you can accept your end result, your awarded points and gold stars at the end of your battle. You're good. Or you can reject that amount of good and start over. Or move on. Knowing more than when you started. Raising your level of mental improvement. There's a possibility that your score could be higher. And the next time you play the scene, maybe it goes faster. You can choose again and again what you want to do. Since there are so many variations of these Angry Birds battles, there are plenty of themes to keep it interesting, to grow your skills, to distract you along the way. So are you being clear, specific about what you're creating in your life? Or are you just letting each bird fly off into the universe with no thought of where it's going to land? Are you letting your thoughts and intentions fly haphazard into the universe, into law, without clarity or some kind of focused direction? Are you aiming at a specific goal? Or are you declaring what you want and then losing track of what you want to do, being distracted off into another realm? So if you see me playing Angry Birds, please know that while it helps reduce my stresses I might be feeling, it's also a way to expand my consciousness. And it's just plain fun, and I ought to have it, and you too. So in conclusion, remember the two key laws for how God works in our lives. Law number one, oneness. God is always present in, through, and as you, co-creating with you. And law number two, it is done unto you as you believe. You get to direct the law, either by default, thinking there are just some arbitrary guidelines out there, or by design, where you can direct the law with specificity. You get to choose the direction, and law obeys. Here again, 4 basic steps of co-creation. Think about what you want to attract and create. Check the level of your belief meter. Believe in what you're doing. Declare, ask for what you want. Nothing is too big, nothing is too outrageous, so be bold. And 4, accept your good. You ought to have it. Put these basic ideas and steps together, and you get unlimited possibilities to create and attract good and more good into your life experiences. Please know this. When it comes to achieving your desires and your intentions, the possibilities of creation are endless. So be open at the top and know that you always have more birds than you need. Let's have a